For those that think I'm just cutting promos. Stu is a friend of mine. Stu's not only a friend of mine in the wrestling world, Stu's one of our cowboys over at the Double Six Ranch. I've been up and down the roads with Stu. I've been at horse auctions with Stu. This goes a lot deeper than this personification that you see from both him and I on screen or on camera.
He wants the recognition for all the hard work that he doesn't really do. You know, like he put on the cowboy hat after he's been at the ranch for 2 months, and now he's a cowboy and trying to convince everybody that there's real cowboys in Samoa. I don't know if there are or not, but like, you know.
In the short time since the last video, a few things have happened that definitely justify the amount of Raja Jackson spam in your feed lately. First of them is that Raja has still not been arrested. Everyone who could put out a video on the topic, with takes ranging from reasonable to completely void of any merit. Rampage Jackson has apparently stopped talking to his son now as well. But that is likely to try to save face in some way, as it's being reported that Rampage's sponsors aren't happy with how this has gone down. If it's true that Rampage has cut ties with his son over this, I'm not sure that's even close to the right answer. But no one has made the right choice in this so far, so why expect them to start now? Oh, and Douglas Mallow has done some kind of media tour discussing what went on.
Stu being a kind guy after AJ's been kicked out of Knox for other situations, because he's always been a hothead, a notorious bully, always hurting people. He shoots on people in the ring. I have messages on messages of people in my Instagram or text messages saying AJ's always been a bully. He shot on me. He hurt me in the ring. You know, he's a terrible person. F this guy. I'm not even putting that stuff out there, you know? So the backstory is Stu takes care of AJ. Says, yeah, we'll get you a spot at the ranch. You could stay over here, but you just got to do stable chores and like we could teach you some things. For instance, just look at the videos he made. The accent switching.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, whatever's convenient enough to tell his story, right? So then at the ranch, they were done with him at the ranch. He said, this guy's got to go. And I talked to Stu and he goes, oh yeah, I gave him that car. I'm like, oh, you sold it to him? He goes, yeah. He's like, I know he's not going to pay it back, but you know, it is what it is.
And he made it clear that he expects an apology from AJ Mana for how he handled things. Luckily, that opportunity would come sooner rather than later, as he had a chance to make that apology on a live stream with the #1 guy you would want to be seen with, while trying to explain that everyone, you are definitely not someone who is okay with assaulting people in the ring. JBL. This live stream was apparently put together because Godfather knows AJ and JBL is friends with Godfather. This could have been a chance to change the narrative. Instead, AJ Mana does this weird rock impression again and basically cuts an hour-long promo. AJ somehow torpedoed his credibility even more in this live stream. He claimed he knew everything was going out live, and he also didn't know things were going out live could be edited out.
Very clear who Raja was from the jump. In fact, I introduced Raja before he even fucking walked up into that general vicinity as being the son of Rampage and a live streamer who is currently rolling right now. Rolling, yeah, his camera's on as he is live right now.
1 week later.
I had no clue that this thing was being live streamed, right? And he was back there, right? People, again, I didn't know this thing was being live streamed. So to me, I'm thinking, all right, this is all being recorded. Hell, 90% of this shit's gonna get edited out anyways. What led up to me telling Raja to get his receipt would be edited out.
Conrad is a very smart interviewer. So he asked him, he goes, oh, you didn't know they were streaming that day? No, not when I told him, you know, this and that. When I said tag him or give him a receipt, I was working, I was in character, you know. And he was like, huh. And he goes, have you ever live streamed with him before? And he goes, yeah, the day before we did a live stream. You just told on yourself, dum-dum.
And then AJ, even in the interview, said, hey, I thought we would just clean it up. But he acknowledged he was a streamer and he had been on the stream before.
He was all over the place. But he was only trying to protect Kayfabe. Ignoring that, in his last interview, he declared kayfabe to be dead.
For those that wanted to pander to this idea of this 1980s mentality of kayfabe, kayfabe is dead, bitches. I don't know if you're aware.
1 week later.
I still believe in kayfabe.
On the third day, I guess kayfabe rose from the grave, and when it was offered an interview with JBL, kayfabe was then resurrected because kayfabe was something that JBL was big on. I don't know, just a guess. He cited David Otunga and banged on about being a Harvard grad, like you can't get that with a stack of plagiarized homework, and that since he agrees with him, he should be in the clear.
What is happening here? I mean, David Otunga, my God, bless that man. I don't know if y'all saw David Otunga's take on it. David Otunga is correct me if I'm wrong, he's a Harvard grad. He is both a professional wrestler and a lawyer. Harvard graduate, explains in full detail on the legal perspective about this whole thing, absolving me of having committed or been an accessory to some crime.
For obvious reasons, this is probably not the best course of action, but it is the course he took. During the interview, Mana would take the opportunity to make sure to try to clear his name, as well as call out Doug Mallow for clout chasing.
So to Doug, you know what? I don't appreciate what you did there. I understand what you were doing. You went into business for yourself. You thought that by burying me, that would help put you over. And it did momentarily, until people are able to see that not only are you the shits and don't know how to work, you're fresh in this business. And you really don't understand this business. Doug not only is not a friend of Stu's, in that entire week that Stu was in the hospital, do you think he ever showed up to the hospital? You think he ever paid a visit? No, he got his clout. That's what he got, clout.
Just to be clear, you're saying there's nothing to the reports that you and Stu didn't get along, or you guys weren't friendly beforehand,
Absolutely
or had you had
not.
problems in the
No,
past?
that's all bullshit. And that's why I'm upset. A video or an interview that Doug did went viral.
AJ,
Sure, you got your clout out of it, but come on, look what you started.
Oh, never mind, scratch that. Mallow was in the chat, so Mana changed his mind on that now.
You know,
Doug Mallow, if anybody isn't sure, is the fellow who I believe is the guy who pulled Raja off of.
yes, yeah.
And Mr. Epic, a friend of the show, is with us here live, and he wants to know, AJ, where were you during the assault? So take us back to that moment when
You know what? Hey, and Doug, hey man to man, all right? Do you really think that if I had any clue, any inclination that this shit was gonna take place, that I wouldn't be there? I was outside. I didn't even know how this thing with Raja was being structured.
He turned everything into an attack on me, saying, you know, and I just laughed. I thought it was hilarious. And I heard it, I was on the chat, so I immediately got in the live comments and I said, yeah, this is the Doug he's talking about. I still say, fuck that guy. Like, I don't care, dude.
AJ Mana has made this pretty difficult on a few levels, but it's not going to sway many people when he is attempting to argue his case by saying the absolute most foolish things possible. On top of this, stories have began to come out that allege that AJ and Stu weren't very close leading up to the incident, and perhaps there was even some heat between the two over a past happening. So even more elements to the story were introduced. Imagine getting it so wrong that you literally have Conrad Thompson saying that he can't see your side of things. Conrad will find ways to agree with anything, but even he couldn't find a place to come to the table with AJ Mana to see things his way.
Brian Turner's VHS Rehab says, y'all tried to give him an out. I don't think that people will see this and say, man, I can't wait to hire that guy. I think the internet wrestling community, that he's looking for pats on the back. I mean, I feel like if anybody tries to book him now, they're going to come after him. And we shot ourselves in the foot in an effort to make things better a little bit. That's my read, but please poke holes in that.
AJ Mana has little chance, I think, to make his way back into wrestling's good graces. But that doesn't mean he has to continue this tour of foolishness in order to attempt it. Had the guy just said that he was sorry and fucked this up, I really think more people may have seen things his way. Not all, but certainly more. His strange flip-flopping when confronted behavior is just not working, and almost anyone looking at this situation, seeing him change his answers to suit whoever is listening, is really not helping. We are at the point where if there was a question of if the man could be trusted, it's been answered. The word going around is that there's a lot of people who are holding back on AJ Mana, but are hoping that he'll do the right thing. If the floodgates do open on the guy, it's not always easy to get a spot in wrestling, and it's going to be even more difficult to get back in if wrestling wants you out, and that's kind of what we're looking at right now. At the end of all this, it's likely that AJ Mana is probably done in the wrestling business due to the way that he's been conducting himself around this issue. He's lost his job outside of wrestling, he's lost his place in wrestling, and as it stands now, hopefully lost his place in the topic, because I think we're all pretty tired of seeing him, and it seems pretty well deserved. The guy just cannot be trusted. Psycho Stu has started to really take a turn for the better and is looking well, all things considered. He has made it back home, and everyone around him is saying that he's on the mend. If Stu comes out and says something positive to get people on board for AJ Mana to be welcomed back, it's possible that could mend fences over time. But the chances of that happening seem quite thin, honestly. The whole receipt thing in wrestling is supposed to be a quick get back for a small transgression to where things are settled fast and done with. This receipt that AJ Mana has attached his career to has done the opposite and seems to have cost more than one person quite a lot of time, pain, and grief, while AJ's big attempt to win people over has done the complete opposite. Thank you for watching this video by Grapple Vision. Let us know if you've enjoyed this video. We don't normally offer our takes on current happenings in wrestling. We prefer to stick to things that have already happened a long time ago that we find interesting. But if you like this kind of content on the channel, definitely let me know. And we'll see you next time here on Grapple Vision.
He also has Samoan tattoos that he has no idea what they mean. And that was exposed to me because he was explaining to one of the Samoans what this means. And he was like, that's not what that means. And I'm like, oh God, this guy's an idiot.
I mean, my bullshit meter was going off and I wanted to help, but I don't think he helped himself at all. And I think sadly, that's probably the end of AJ in wrestling.